Hey there everybody, and welcome back to Sasquatch Speaks. This is Sasquatch, otherwise known as Gavisas, welcoming you all once again to this dark little corner of the internet, currently populated by all of us. On today's episode, well, before we get into today's episode, I just have to tell you all about the amazing meal that I just had. As I've mentioned before, my separate uncles, actually two of them, up in Traverse City, Michigan. Well, maybe I shouldn't have said Traverse City, but well, they're not really there. They're in the surrounding areas farther out, but up in that general area. Both of them have occupations which allow them a bit of leeway in terms of, you know, the foodstuffs that they have. One of them is a farmer who has in his private 2-acre garden a massive amount of vegetables, which he sent back to along with us the last time we were up there. And the other uncle is a butcher, a master butcher. He has all his credentials and things, and he works for a meat, actually a slaughtering company, and he goes through and he cuts up all the meat and starts shipping out to packing companies because, you know, can't have those all in the same place because, you know, federal regulations and all that. But because he works in that industry, he gets to take home a little bit of extra on the side, and by a little bit of extra, I mean more than he could ever possibly hope to consume. And so when we were up there, he sent back about 10 pounds of assorted foodstuffs, a great deal of which we just finished consuming after he sent some of it back with us. But like I said, about 10 pounds back with us when we last went up there to visit with him. Those are the words I was trying to say. And yes, they were delicious, they were glorious, they were beautiful, and they were wonderful, and they were just amazing. And there will probably be a picture of that going up on my Twitter shortly after I finish podcasting this. But I just had to let everyone out there know that I am maybe not eating the best stuff, but it's absolutely the best of the worst. If a lot of meat is bad for you, then I am absolutely eating the best of the worst, and couldn't be happier about it. So, letting everyone know that I am eating well, or at least eating stuff that would be food that would ordinarily be expensive beyond all reason for absolutely nothing at all. Well, price of charcoal, I guess, but that's about it. Because you gotta grill. You just gotta grill. And I do seem to have a affinity for making the, quote, well-done steak. And not just because the beyond medium well to well done, but I mean just very well done steak. Just steak done right. Yes. Not burnt. Anyway, all of that out of the way, I want to talk today about something that I saw while I was on the road. We were just kind of had a car full of people today. We had a business meeting. We were chauffeuring some people around, you know, making sure everyone could make it and save money on gas and all that sort of fun stuff. Like they're carpooling, really. And while we were driving around, we happened to be driving down a particular road. I don't even remember which one it was exactly, but we passed this lady. I think it was a lady. I'm not actually sure. It was some cause for question. We passed a person, let's put it that way, who was okay. I'm gonna do it this way. So you can all think I'm gonna be just a mean, heartless person, and then maybe less of a mean, heartless person. Just hate me a little bit more, and then hate me a little bit less. Okay. So they were in a wheelchair, and I mean not like a little push wheelchair, but like a motorized wheelchair. And I'm like, oh, okay, they have that, and you saw them driving down the sidewalk by themselves. Like, okay, well, it's sad. They're in this wheelchair, and they get up to this crosswalk, and they usually pedestrian. Okay, you're a pedestrian. I understand that your legs are not working particularly well, and you should probably, you know, that's that. The wheels are your legs, basically. Not to say that you don't have legs. There wasn't again. Let's just assume she. I'll assume she. I'm still not entirely certain. There's a little bit of distance, and I wasn't paying so much close to the person in the chair as it was just like what they were doing in this little powered chair. Specifically, like I said, they were just kind of driving down the road, or not the road, but the sidewalk. And when you come to sidewalks, I understand I have some foreign viewers who may not have quite this setup, but when you come to the end of a sidewalk here in America, where it intersects with a road, there is a signal that has a little hand on it that says, hey, don't go. And when it's time for you to go, there's a little white guy that pops up. Well, not white guy, but a white lighted guy that pops up and looks like he's walking and says, okay, well, now you can walk. And when the white walking guy goes away, you should not be in the middle of the road. Just a good idea. Generally, everyone can figure this out. But this person in the wheelchair, and I'm like, okay, I understand that there are some people who have like mental disabilities, and that's why they're in these chairs. But usually, those sort of people are, accompanied by someone else because they are a danger to themselves in that capacity. They don't really understand the rules and the laws. I'm like, okay, well, I can understand that. But when this particular person got to the end of the sidewalk, and I looked over and I saw, oh, okay, well, you are not supposed to be proceeding forward. Okay, I noticed that, and as we went through the intersection, I looked back and I saw this person proceeding directly through the intersection, heedless of both the signal that said, hey, don't proceed, it's dangerous, and the oncoming traffic. It was a busy intersection. There was cars heading in all directions, and this person, because of their lack of... we'll begin with lack of attention. We'll begin with lack of attention, and we will degrade from there. Because of their lack of attention, they just proceeded right on through the intersection, heedless, like I said, of the traffic, which, because there was a lot of traffic, caused a backup. Not a big one, but a considerable one. And my thought was, holy crap, how is it that you didn't understand that you could have died right there? I understand, like I said, I understand that there are people who have mental handicaps who are like, they have multiple things that are wrong with them. One of them being that they cannot really understand rules and laws and don't go in front of a moving vehicle. Okay. I understand that. And I understand that there is a possibility that even someone like that could have, gotten away from their supervision. They might have been unattended. And it would have been just a tragic mistake. I understand that. This, probably not the case. I don't mean to be judgmental or anything else like that, but there are people who are in need of a wheelchair. They cannot move around on their own. It's physically impossible for them. And so they need to get a motor wheelchair, and there are multiple reasons for this occurrence to be. I have a very good friend of mine who has cerebral palsy, and he's quadriplegic, and he's been that way since he was born. But he's amazing. He's actually an amazing man. They said he would never live past the age of 18. He's almost 50. They said he would never get past kindergarten. He has 2 master's degrees, and he's working on a bachelor's. He's just an absolutely amazing man. The person I saw today was not. Because, like I said, first of all, there's clearly there could have been something mentally wrong with this person. I understand. There could have been, but I don't think there was. And this could make me a bad person for just projecting this on them. But my reasoning for assuming that there was not something wrong with him, that there was maybe something wrong with him, but not something that could be attributed medically, more of an attitude problem, that they were entitled to halt traffic. Like general traffic, 2-ton vehicles had barreling forward at 45 miles an hour. It was oh, yeah, well, you guys better move, because if you guys hit me, then you're going to get prosecuted. But full understanding of the law, just not caring, understanding that the law governs people in cars more harshly than it does pedestrians. And I like I said, my reasoning for assuming that this was the case, that this was not someone who had been born with some sort of a mental difficulty that prevented them from understanding, but rather that this was a fully cognizant person who simply chose to put themselves and others in danger because, automobile drivers may decide, I don't want to hit this person, but I don't have enough time to stop, so I'm going to try and swerve. And, they might actually accidentally swerve into the person next to them and cause this massive car pileup, and you'll just go doodling along in your little Amigo car or whatever it is. The reason I view this person as perhaps being more cognizant of their surroundings than someone who has some sort of mental challenge or difficulty or even disease is because of, and this is going to come out as incredibly judging. I'll probably go into this a little bit more some other day when I have more time. It's because of their extreme size. And I understand there's some big people, and there's people who have, like I said, all sorts of mental difficulties who become overweight as a result of, as an indirect result of their not understanding the consequences of just eating massive amounts of candy. I understand there's people like that. And then I have I won't say sympathy because I'm not a very sympathetic person, but I have understanding for them. I understand how they got to that position. I think that empathy is the difference here. This person, like I said, was cognizant, and I say that because even there's a limit to how far you can go, even with mental handicaps. And I know because, like I said, I've met people with mental handicaps. And they get to a point where they're like, okay, well, even though I don't really understand what's going on, I can put it together enough that doing this leads to bad things. So I don't want to do that anymore. Even if it's just something as simple as that, even without proper nouns, just like doing this equals bad. Got it. I kind of understand this. I don't really understand it, but I've put enough together that I don't want to do that. Got it. Okay. This person was grotesquely overweight. I mean, to the point where they were hanging over every available side of the chair. And I personally have had family members who have gotten to this point, and again, we're fully cognizant of the fact that they got there, of how they got there and why they got there, and they were perfectly okay with it, but they still had this mindset, and I'm going to get to this in a second, where they ate themselves into paralysis, basically. Just ate and ate and ate and ate and ate, and they understood fully well that continuing to do so was going to lock them in place, basically. And I understand that, there's the mechanical machines and the chairs and all, exactly what this person had. I understand those things there, so there's never really, truly, completely locked in place. You're never completely paralyzed because of how fat you are. But you basically are. If that was not a thing which existed in the world, you'd be paralyzed. Effectively paralyzed by your bad eating habits. And I understand. And I know I've talked about weight before. But today it kind of struck me that it's a bigger problem than just eating a lot. Because, everyone's like, okay, well, even today, I ate more than I probably should have. But I'm going to work it off. And I'm not going to eat the same way tomorrow. Today was a kind of a special occasion. Because, like I said, we just had this excess of incredibly high-quality meat that we didn't want to go bad. And it's like, it's getting kind of cold. We don't want to run the risk of missing out on good grilling weather, so let's throw it on the grill. And I'm like, okay, great. Make some well-done steaks. Like I said, pictures on Twitter. If you aren't following me, please do. @GavIsSas, there's a link in the description. But it just strikes me that there are... it's not really trying to pick on the mindset, because, like I said, they're fully cognizant people. They understand what they're doing, and you have to give them some freedom and leeway in doing that. But there comes a point where enough is enough. And I think today I saw a point where that line was being crossed. Because he was a person who ate themselves into that position. And like I said, this appeared to be a cognizant person. I understand, like I said, I wasn't even close enough to figure out whether they were a male or a female. And there was enough flesh there to put it into a serious question. There was no, like, clear-cut answer. Like I said, I was probably about 30, 40 feet away. But still, there is a look about people who have full use of their mental faculties and people who don't. There's a visual difference, and you can sometimes pick that up even before gender, just because of how people carry themselves. This person was carrying themselves in that manner of like, yes, I have all of my mental faculties. I understand what I'm doing. I understand that I ate myself into this chair, and I will probably never walk again because I'm comfortable in this position. And if that is as far as it had gone, that's fine. You know what? That's your decision. That's your choice. It doesn't affect me or anybody else in the slightest. But this person took it a step farther. They said, okay, I've eaten myself into this chair. I will probably never get out of it. I'm okay with that. And now I'm going to use this position that I've put myself in, this position of, I would say, lessened quality of life. Because I talked before about how I could probably get away with just not having a lower half. I mean, I don't really use it for anything right now. I will in the future, just trying to alter my lifestyle in order to do that. But for right now, it's not really contributing anything to the overall picture of Gavisas. It's just not. But this person went to a step farther, and just like, I like food more than I like walking. They took it to that point, and then they took it, like I said, they took it a step farther beyond that, and they said, because I have taken it to that point of, or I like food more than I like walking around and actually being able to use all the parts of my body to engage in normal human activities, now I am going to impose upon you restrictions on your lifestyle and your daily activities because I'm in this chair. And that, like, well, how can you say that? Well, because they demonstrated it right in front of me. By going and into moving traffic. Like I said, oncoming traffic both ways. And everyone could see this person. And the fact that they have no intention of slowing down. You're driving, you see that person, and you're like, okay, well, that person's clearly not going to slow down. They're just driving and have no regard for the law or decency or the other drivers or anything else at all. Just what they're doing, what's on their mind, where they're going, how they're getting there, how quickly they're going, yada, 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 so on and so forth. That was this person in wheelchair form. And I'm like, he's not going to, or the person was not going to stop. That person. They had made up in their mind that even though the little hand was up, said, hey, don't go. Bad, dangerous, moving traffic. Even though they could see the hand, even though they could see the traffic moving back and forth, going, like I said, 45 miles an hour on this road. And they're like, okay, I see that. Not stopping. You all, in your cars, who are going other places, who probably are doing something much more important than myself, who has eaten myself into this chair and has decided that I'm okay with this and will live this way for the rest of my life, you all must alter yourselves for me. Because I say so. And sure enough, they just went right down the middle of the road, and all the other cars had to stop and mess up the flow of traffic. And like I said, at the time it was a small thing. Okay, they slowed down. Not a big deal. What if they hadn't been paying that much attention? What if they're like, okay, well, the light is green, let's just move forward. And holy crap, there's a guy there! Turn to the side real quick and bam! Oh, I'm sorry, I just wrecked your car and the guy next to you as well because of how quick I had to jerk the wheel to try to avoid the idiot in the wheelchair. And you know what? That person still probably wouldn't have stopped. They'd been, oh well, you hit them. You maybe killed somebody. You maybe killed yourself trying to avoid me and my little wheelchair that I've eaten myself into and will never get out to because I'm comfortable in this position. And you all had better adapt to me because, I think so. That's what I have a problem with. I don't have a problem. Like I said, anyone in the world has the right to do whatever they want to themselves. There's nothing anyone can do to stop you. So you can do it. If you have the means, you can do it. But when you take that a step farther and say that everyone else must adapt themselves and their way of thinking and even their daily activities to accommodate your insecurities or your own incredibly inflated sense of self-worth or self-entitlement or however you want to put it, when you get to that point where you're saying that everyone else must adapt themselves to you just because you feel like it, there's a problem. A serious problem. Not one that I can really do anything about because, like I said, they have that right. They have that ability. I can't take that away. But I really wish sometimes there was someone who could. I would volunteer if someone would empower me. Like, hey, you know what? You're an idiot. Move. Stop. I will turn your chair off, and you will be stuck there until someone turns it back on. And I know how to do that. I probably shouldn't admit how I know how to do that, but I know how to do that. It's very mean. I'm sorry. I'm a cruel, heartless, just bad person. I know. But it bugs me. Really bugs me that there are people who like I said, I have undying respect for people who are put in that position by means other than their own. But people who intentionally, or maybe not intentionally, people who cognizantly put themselves in that position. Hey, if I eat 600 pizzas in a year, I'll probably get really fat. Got it. Shouldn't do that. Okay. And then they still do it. People who are like that, who can recognize the danger, take it upon themselves, and still say, I'm still going to do it. I have no respect for those people. I have no... I don't want to interact with them. I don't want to be around them. I just don't... Just keep them away from me. Just... no. Sorry. And like I said, I know I'm a heartless person. I know I need to be more kind and sympathetic and open and understanding and respectful of everyone else's thoughts and opinions. But I don't really see them being very respectful of my thoughts and opinions and things that are important to me either. So there has to be some mutual ground here. And I don't see it. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting about one person that I saw in the middle of the road who almost got themselves killed, and with that attitude probably will get themselves killed someday. Probably. I mean, you can't keep going into the middle of moving traffic and expect to survive it every time. Just logically, that's not going to work out every time. Just throwing that out there for anyone who may be questioning. It's not going to work out real well. Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox for today. I doubt anybody enjoyed this. This was just a hate-filled, angry rant. I'm so sorry. I probably shouldn't even post this, but I'm going to anyway because I don't have time to record anything else. So yes, if you didn't enjoy this, which I quite suspect you didn't, leave a dislike rating. If you're weird like me and you're like, why? Then yeah, I guess you could leave a like rating, though you probably may not want to because other people may see that sometime in the future and you're like, oh, I'm so messed up. I don't know. Anyway, hope you all at least found it a little intriguing. Maybe got your mind working again. I hope to see you all next time. Goodbye.